Salve and welcome to Parsing John. Today we're going to take a look at verse 9 in our next chunk of text. This paragraph goes from verse 29 through, I believe, verse 34. Let's go ahead and get started. Here we have our rubric, everything that we're looking for as we go through this text. Move that down here and read the Latin. Altera die videt Ioannes Iesum venientem ad se et ait ecce agnus Dei qui tollit peccatum mundi. And that's as far as we're going to go today. Very first thing that we want to find when going through a text is our verb. Altera die, neither of those are it. But here we come to videt. We have E as our vowel here and T as our ending. T tells us that it is a third person singular. Since we have an E here, we know that it is present tense. Our verb is video, videre, vidi, which would mean E is to it. This would be an I if it were perfect tense. Present, active, indicative. So this would be sees. We know we want a singular subject as we look ahead and behind. Neither of these work as a proper subject. Da is a fifth declension, which means that this has to be ablative. Singular, masculine. Altera, there's nothing in here for it to modify. It could be standing as a substantive, but the context of verse 28 doesn't allow for that, nor really would it make any sense here. It must then also be ablative, singular, masculine, or no. Correction. Da here is not acting as a masculine. It's acting as a feminine because it's time. Also, alteras, clearly feminine. Which means that Ioannes, with our E here, which would be, I believe, long, is our nominative. This is a non-standard Latin word, so it doesn't follow rules. But we've talked about that before. Okay. John sees. Let's go ahead to our ablative over here. This is going to be an ablative time when. And this is next. Just spelled with an X, sorry. Next day, John sees a direct object, and we've got Iesum and venientem. Venientem is masculine or feminine, and Iesum is masculine. This means that this participle here is most likely modifying Iesum, so we can treat them as a pair. Also doesn't seem to go with that. Venientem can't really be the object of preposition. So accusative, singular, masculine, and this means Jesus, and this means coming. It is a accusative, singular, masculine, present, active participle. We got our int stem there and our third declension ending right there. The next day, John sees Jesus coming. Ad se. Ad takes the accusative in its object and it shows location. Se here is a reflexive pronoun to himself, and himself would be our subject. Here we have a nice bit of clarity. One pronoun or demonstrative that Jerome could have used here is id, but had he used that, then we would have a great deal of confusion about to whom is Jesus coming. It wouldn't be at all clear, but Latin fortunately has reflexive pronouns, which then tell us that the person spoken of here is the same as our subject. So se means John, right? And ait is our annoyingly irregular verb. It is third person because of our T here, singular, and either present or perfect. And it is active and indicative. He says, since we don't have a new subject introduced here, it makes most sense for us to assume John again as our subject. And he says, quote, entering a direct statement. Ecce just means look or behold. Agnus. Our us here tells us that this is a nominative, singular, masculine noun. It is our subject. Just means lamb. Dei. Dei comes from Deus. Dei could be either nominative plural or genitive singular. Since we've already got a nominative plural, genitive is the most logical option. Of God. Qui, from qui, quae, quod, or technically quis, quid, could be either one. This can be either a nominative singular or a nominative plural. Since we've only got singulars here, nominative singular is the best option. Who. And then we come to our first verb here in this entire section. Tolet. It tells us that this is third person singular. And this verb is tolo, tolere, sustuli, sublatum. So this makes it present tense. It's active and indicative. Takes, lifts a direct object. Peccatum, here tells us accusative, singular, and I believe this noun is neuter. It is technically a substantive form of the perfect passive participle of a verb, and this means sin. And it works as our direct object. Qui has to be our subject, which confirms for us that this is, in fact, accusative. Final word. Mundi could be nominative plural or genitive singular, but since we've got qui already as a subject, mundi has to be genitive singular. It also only makes sense for it to be genitive singular because this word means world. Of worlds, not world, something like that. Anyway, of world. And there we go. That is our text for verse 29. Let's take a look at the whole thing together. Next day, John sees Jesus coming to himself, and he says, "Look, Lamb of God, who takes or lifts sin of world." And there's verse 29 for us. We're done. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope taking a look at this verse has been helpful for you. And have a good day.